wasn't yours. I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back to who I was before. I like me better, I like me better.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I've never done a video like this before. I don't know if randomly I thought to myself I want to do a video where I go down the different categories of makeup products and let you know if you should save or splurge. If you guys want to know more about what I'm talking about, let's go. Okay, so like I said, I wanted to let you guys know, just in my humble opinion, okay, emphasis on my, this is just out of everything that I've tried before, and y'all know I done tried a lot of products throughout the years. These are the things that I would splurge on. These are the things like you can save your money and you can find products just as good as the other more high-end products. There's gonna be like a drugstore versus high-end competition. The word's not coming to me. Once again, my opinion, you don't have to agree. Debate your mama about it. So starting out, brow products. If I had to say save or splurge when it comes to brow products, you can splurge. You can splurge when it comes to brow products. Just for me, again, I done tried drugstore brow products. I don't really recall any that hit like that. Like off the top of my head, the one I use right now by Refi, that brow pencil. Also, let's like make sure we understand when I'm saying drugstore high end. There is that middle ground where, you know, there are some brands that are a little bit more affordable. So I'll specify that as well. But you know, when I'm saying like go ahead and splurge when it comes to brow pencils, the Refi, Charlotte Tilbury, Benefit, Anastasia Beverly Hills, like those, I can quickly think of some that cost a little bit more money for a brow pencil that I would pick up before I pick up some of the ones, like I've tried one from ColourPop that I have, and I only keep it around because like I quickly run out of brow pencils. And when I do and I haven't been able to replace it yet, I'll use that ColourPop one, and like there's a very big difference between the two. So, you know, like I've tried NYX, I've tried all that stuff. I always end up going back to the ones that cost a little bit more. So when it comes to brow pencils, go ahead and splurge. Eyeshadow palettes or eyeshadow products, both of them, right? When it comes to that one, you can save your money, if we're being completely honest. Now I definitely feel like this answer has changed over the years. If you've been using makeup products for a long time, then you've definitely seen there's been a difference, because back in the day, I would have said, oh, you gotta splurge. But looking back at it, looking at some of the eyeshadow palettes, eyeshadow products that cost a little bit more money, and the ones that were, you know, a lot more popular back in the day, the Naked palettes, the Chocolate palettes, the Anastasia palettes, when you look back on it, a lot of it was mid. But back in the day, I, myself included, definitely would have said, no, go ahead and get those, you know, because drugstore eyeshadow really used to give chalk back in the day. But baby, e.l.f., NYX, ColourPop, they are definitely brands that have stepped up in the last few years. Actually, a lot of drugstore brands have stepped up in the last few years when it comes to their eyeshadow products. And e.l.f. has some of my favorite eyeshadow formula in general that I would probably buy before, you know, I buy another Naked palette, before I buy another Anastasia palette. So you can definitely save and you'll still get really quality eyeshadow. You'll still get really quality eyeshadow looks with more, you know, affordable eyeshadow palettes. So you can definitely save your money and you'll do well. Now, Pat McGrath, obviously, very splurge of a purchase there, and it is good, but like you could do your eyeshadow without a Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette and you'll be just fine. So when it comes to eyeshadow, you can save. Okay, I might ruffle some feathers there. Foundation. Now, y'all know I love me the NYX Born to Glow foundation. It's $10. I like the NYX Blur foundation that I just tried. I think that was like $14. But overall, when it comes to foundation, you can splurge. You can splurge on foundation. Now, let's keep in mind, I done tried like 200 foundations, so I've got some experience in this. And, you know, just in general, foundation is the foundation of your look. So, you know, if you want to throw it, if you were going to throw in a little bit more money for something in your makeup routine, it should probably be the foundation, because it's the foundation of your look, right? For me, you know, I've found the foundations that I've tried that cost, you know, a little bit more money, they just be hitting more often. Honestly, I'm not really that big of a fan of a lot of high ends, and this time I mean legit high end, you know, Dior, Chanel, that type stuff, makeup products. One, those brands usually be leaving out my skin tone. And two, I be trying this stuff and I'm like, okay, I guess. But I mean, in recent years, that Chanel foundation, absolutely. That Givenchy foundation, absolutely. Mario is not high end, but you know, his foundation was not cheap either. I think it was like $45. I just, in my opinion, you can go ahead and splurge on your foundation. Okay, when it comes to concealer, I think I'm pretty actually neutral on that one. But y'all know I'm kind of neutral on concealer in general. Like, I know I need, well, I don't need it, but I prefer concealer in my makeup look. But I just have not found the one that's like, absolutely, yes, it needs to do it for me. I've tried Drugstore, I've tried Highend, I've tried Middle Ground. All of them are just kind of like, okay. And I think I have found, you know, nice drugstore concealers. I have found nice mid-range, nice high-end concealers. Right now I'm currently using that Good Apple from KVD Beauty and the Huda Beauty, which is like pretty like mid-range, but obviously they cost a little bit more than drugstore. If I'm trying to think of a drugstore concealer, I did like that Maybelline Fit Me concealer. Actually, see, now that I thought about it randomly, I kind of want to try it again. That's my problem though. I want to, like, I'll think of a product and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to try it again. Like, maybe give it another chance and I buy it again and it's just kind of, okay. So, you know, like, I could recommend from either price range, but in general, so you could save or splurge on concealer. I think you'll be fine. Setting powder. You can splurge on setting powder. Again, I done tried a lot of drugstore powders. Milani, Maybelline Fit Me. I like those drugstore powders. But I found with a lot of drugstore powders, some of them be borderline giving like chalk. Not just that, the shades that they be coming out with be giving, you know, chalk on my face. You know, Laura Mercier is one of my favorites. The Pat McGrath powder is one of my favorites. Chanel, you know, your girl got a little bit more expensive taste when it comes to setting powder. So I would say, I would go ahead and say you can splurge on setting powder. Again, setting powder, especially someone like me, I've got oily skin. So that's an important step in my routine. Just locks the face in together. Go ahead and splurge. I think I can kind of do contour and bronzer together because on that one, I feel like I would say you could save. Granted, the one that I use right now, the one that I use right now, I think it's $19. It's from LYS, the No Limit contour stick. But the bronzer I use is Charlotte Tilbury, which is a little bit more expensive. But in general, I think you could save when it comes to contour and bronzer, especially, you know, because especially back in the day, you know, brands acted like they didn't need to make those products for deeper complexions. So it was really the brands that were either Black owned or made to cater to deeper complexions that were holding it down. And you'll find like a lot of them were a little bit more affordable brands. Black Radiance, Black Opal, is it Black Opal? Don't know what I'm talking about. That Black Radiance contour palette, even right now, Thread Beauty, you can find it in Target. Absolutely amazing contour stick. Just those brands that were really holding it down, and they still hold it down to this day. I still own those brands. And they will get the job done, again, especially for deeper complexions. So you don't have to splurge on that one. You can go ahead, get the drugstore versions. And even some of the other brands, you know, especially in the last few years, have come to their senses, or, well, need the money, and have put out shades for deeper complexion. So I know L'Oreal has a bronzer that I like. I'm trying to think. ColourPop, well, ColourPop discontinued it, so you know what. But e.l.f., the putty bronzers, like, you definitely have options when it comes to drugstore, so you can save on that one. Blush. Now y'all know I have definitely started liking blush a lot more in recent years, and if I had to pick one, I would say you can splurge on blushes. Now again, it's harder because those products, you know, brands just act like if they make foundations for deeper complexions, it stops there. So even to this day, it's still hard when it comes to blush, finding ones that are not ashy on my skin tone. I found a lot of the ones, like if you were to walk down CVS, Walgreens and pick up blushes in those aisles, a lot of them would still be giving very much so chalk, very much so. Like the shades are not flattering. Even if the formula itself isn't chalk, the shades are not flattering for my skin tone. I have found, you know, you put out a little bit more money, you splurge a little bit, and you get nicer blushes, at least, you know, to me. Now, e.l.f. is just a brand you go to in general if you're trying to find a more affordable option. But I mean, like overall, Laura Mercier has some of my favorite powder blushes. Rare Beauty has my favorite liquid blushes. Pat McGrath has very nice powder blushes. Armani Beauty has very nice liquid blushes. Like that's what I'm saying. Like those things come easy to me. Like when I think drugstore blushes, where I can be like, yeah, really the only one I think about is like e.l.f. So you know, you can go ahead and splurge when it comes to blush. What else? What other products do you put on your face? Setting spray. Setting spray is kind of like concealer to me, so I'd say neutral. I have found setting sprays that are like some of my go-to ones, and when I think about them, One Size, Charlotte Tilbury, what else? There's the Fresh Nectar. Again, you know, a little bit more mid. You're starting to get into the higher price range, but Makeup Revolution has a really nice one. What is that? Hard Candy has one that'll just blend everything into your face. NYX, Sephora, like there's a nice range where you could go either way. At that point, it's not really considering, do you want to save, do you want to splurge? Just there's one, maybe it's talked about a lot, maybe you've heard a lot and you want to try it, so go ahead and try it. Like you can find a nice one either way and you'll be fine, and it's still worth it. I think the only other thing, oh, primer. This video will sound real bougie. You could, I think you can splurge on, cause you don't really need primer. Like you don't really need it. I do wear primer, but you know, especially like when I have my makeup professionally done, if it's for a shoot or anything like that, like a lot of makeup artists they don't even be using primer like that. So it's like you don't really need primer, so you don't really need to splurge on primer. But I prefer the primers that I splurged on as opposed to some of the ones that were a little bit more affordable. You know, right now, Danette Meyer, she's not going anywhere. I have the Charlotte Tilbury primer sunscreen on my face, but I also have the e.l.f. one that's a dupe for Milk Hydro Grip. But Milk Hydro Grip is also a staple product, so that's why I'm like, you could splurge when it comes to primer. There are some, you know, drugstore primers that are nice, but I think overall. Okay, and I think the last thing is lip products, because I think I talked about everything else. Yes, I think the last thing are lip products, and baby, you can go ahead and save your money when it comes to lip products. I promise you, lipstick, lip liner, lip gloss, you will find drugstore lip products that are just as good, if not better, than more mid-range, high-end products. You don't need to splurge on lip products. Like, you know how Christian Louboutin has that, it's like a lip product shaped in the little, y'all know what I'm talking about? Like, I tried one of those and it was giving very much so. Please be BFFR. Can't say the actual thing. NYX, the butter gloss. NYX in general just has every lip product you could think of that is going to be better, or the same quality or better than some of the more expensive ones. e.l.f. I'm trying to think. I remember I did a video. There was like some brand that had duped Kylie lipsticks, and I think they were like $1 each. And yeah, it was giving the same quality, if not better, than Kylie's lipsticks. So you do not need to splurge when it comes to lip products. Now, I think the only splurge that I do nowadays are Fenty gloss bombs, because I'm just, at this point, I'm going to have every single color they come out with. But that's about it. Save your money. And yeah, y'all, I think I made it through all of the categories. If I didn't, you know, my bad. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you save on? What do you splurge on? Do you only splurge? Do you only save? Let me know all that down below. Make sure 2 thumbs up, comment, subscribe, notification bells down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.